But first tonight, to a new low in Indian politics. It's been another day of a wasted session of the winter session of Parliament. This time, the government disrupting the House over India Today's Augusta story. Another day of noise, uproar and chaos is conducted. The situation has got so bad that BJP veteran L.K. Advani said he would resign if these disruptions don't stop. Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha both getting repeatedly adjourned in short intervals. Look at these shocking numbers we are giving you. Just 20 sittings in this winter session, only 15% productivity and 19% productive business in Rajya Sabha. Out of the 21 days, 20 days have been disrupted. Remember, the cost of running Parliament 6 hours per day is 9 crore rupees. You do the math and judge for yourself what's gone wrong. Until today, or at least until the last week, really, a week ago, it was the opposition which was being held responsible for holding Parliament up. But in the last few days, it's the government which has now taken the cudgels of disrupting Parliament. Today, it was India Today's story on the VVIP Augusta chopper scam that resonated in Parliament. BJP MPs carrying Mail Today copies to the House. This is a day after India Today accessed Augusta middleman's Christian Michel's secret personal diary, which exposes bribery in the Choppergate scandal. This is the second India Today report on consecutive days that has echoed in Parliament.
Diary bomb, which has been published by newspapers today.
For the second day in a row, an India Today report set the agenda at Parliament. India Today's Augusta expose, which laid bare the secret notes of a middleman, echoed in Parliament. And the BJP used the India Today report published in the Daily Mail today as ammunition to corner the Congress over its alleged involvement in the VVIP chopper scam. The report, aired on India Today on Wednesday, set the agenda for a Parliament fistfight. The diary notings revealed that 16 million euros were paid to a particular Indian political family, but the Congress dismissed the charge.
In the Italian court, case himself said, family means nothing like that. There's no connection with Sonia ji. No connection with Sonia ji. Because the driving force behind this procurement was the Indian Air Force.
The Augusta storm was preceded by the Cash Mafia expose Part 8, which showed how political outfits have become havens for turning black money into white. 2 days, 2 massive exposés that have dominated the national news agenda. India Today's investigative journalism has impact on the power corridors. Bureau Report, India Today.
And joining me now is senior Congress leader and the party's chief whip in the Lok Sabha, Jyotiraditya Scindia. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Scindia. The simple question is, today the opposition is blaming the government for disrupting Parliament. But the fact is, from the 16th of November, it was the opposition which was insisting on a debate on demonetization as an adjournment motion and kept disrupting Parliament. So what moral right do you have today to blame the government when you were disrupting Parliament for at least 3 weeks?
Well, Rajdeep, it is our parliamentary and legislative right to ask for an adjournment motion with a vote, which is why we were going under the Rule 56, which was asking for an adjournment motion for a vote, because we wanted to pass a censure motion on this government, and we wanted to be very clear in terms of the clear lines in terms of where every member of parliament stood on this issue. Now, the government so calls itself as in a brute majority. So my question to this government is, why was it shying away from a discussion with a vote? And this went on for 10 days. We did not get any signal from the government that they were looking to restart Parliament. It's the responsibility of Parliament to do so. We then moved from a Rule 56 to a Rule 184, which is not an adjournment motion, but it is a motion with a vote. So it's not a censure motion, but a motion with a vote. So if you do not have any level of insecurity about the muster of your government and the fact that a no confidence motion will not be passed, why did you not go ahead with the discussion?
No, Mr. Scindia, it is for the Speaker. Mr. Scindia, I'm sorry.
Abandon all rules
Mr.
and have a
Scindia,
debate.
Mr. Scindia, it is for the Speaker to decide, to rule on that.
I'm sorry, Rajdeep, you're wrong. Rajdeep, the functioning of Parliament. No, Rajdeep. Rajdeep, no, Rajdeep. Rajdeep, if you kindly give me 2 minutes, you're incorrect in your statement. It is for the government to decide, not for the Speaker to decide. Let me correct you on that. The government was adamant that they will not agree to a Rule 56 debate. The government was adamant that they will not agree to a Rule 184 debate, which is not a censure motion but a voting motion. Why is my question when they have a brute majority? Question number 3. When we agreed even to the motion that they had brought about, that we will have a debate setting aside all rules from last Thursday till this Thursday for 1 week, for the first time in the history of Parliament, you have seen the Treasury benches getting up and disrupting Parliament. The reason is very simple, Rajdeep. They have realized the folly of their actions. They do not want a debate because they know कि ये बेनकाब संसद के अंदर होने वाले हैं. Which is why they are physically running away from a debate in Parliament.
Mr. Scindia, the fact also is that you and the government have changed the goalposts. For days on end, you said this was about a debate on demonetization. Suddenly it becomes about Rahul Gandhi's expose or supposed expose 48 hours ago, and you insist that he be allowed to speak. So the opposition, the government then decides to disrupt Parliament. Yes, it may have been the first time in history, but the fact is you changed the goalposts. You first wanted a debate with voting, then you say you are ready for any kind of debate, then you say it is about Rahul Gandhi exposing the Prime Minister. The opposition also needs clarity. What did you want from this session of Parliament?
Rajdeep, I don't think you could have asked a more incorrect question. The opposition has not changed the goalposts even once. For the first time in the history of Parliament, you have seen a combined opposition of 16 political parties putting together their voice together in one statement and in one voice. We have always said we want a debate, but we want a debate under the rules with a vote. We want a debate under the rules with a censure motion. Now, when we have walked the extra mile, wherein we have moved from a censure motion to just a debate with a vote, and then from there abandoning all rules and just having a debate, should the government not have walked half the distance and half the mile as well? The government is completely adamant that we will not allow a debate to happen in this House.
That's because your leader, sir, with due apologies.
It is not about Mr. Rahul Gandhi. It is about the voice of Parliament. No, hold on.
Mr. Rahul Gandhi, 48 hours ago, Mr. Rahul Gandhi has made an allegation.
Members of Parliament's voice being heard.
Mr. Scindia, Mr. Rahul Gandhi made an allegation in a press conference saying that he had evidence of personal corruption against the Prime Minister and he wanted to put it before the floor of Parliament. Now the question is, if he has such damning evidence, should he not put it in the press conference itself? By saying you want to put it in Parliament itself, you are in a sense putting a red rag before the government. The government then believes that Rahul Gandhi will speak and then the opposition will walk out. That's the fear that the government has. If you have such hard evidence, why don't you put it before a press conference? What stops you? What stops Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party from putting this evidence before the people of the country?
So I thank you for making 2 points. The first point that you have made is that the opposition has not changed the goalposts. We have relented, we have moved the distance because we want a debate to happen. That has happened over a 2-week period, but we have moved so that we can facilitate a debate. My question to you and through your channel to the government, Rajdeep, is what has the government done to facilitate a debate? The opposition has come down from Rule 56 to Rule 184. The opposition has come down from Rule 184 to a debate.
I am asking you about Rahul Gandhi.
You tell me, where has the government gone? to meet
I am
the
asking
opposition
you about
halfway.
Rahul Gandhi's
No,
actions, which have again
so therefore,
created a bitterness and a
therefore,
divide.
Rajdeep, you're trying to behave like your competitor. Please don't do that, because you have your own strengths and your own USP. Please retain those, okay? So let me please finish. So the first point that you made about changing goalposts, the opposition has not changed its goalposts. We still want to debate. We still want the voice of parliamentarians to be heard.
Yes.
Now the fact is that Mr. Rahul Gandhi wants to put his point across as a member of the opposition. What is wrong with that? How does that change any goalpost? You asked the point that if he has some facts to put before with regard to the Prime Minister, his own inner voice and his inner calling is that he must first put that in Parliament. When Parliament is in session, it is the prerogative of every MP to first put those facts on the table in Parliament.
Yes.
Now, if the government does not allow him to do that, which certainly seems to be the case, because now we only have one day left, which is tomorrow.
Yes.
Right? But if that does not happen tomorrow, then Mr. Rahul Gandhi, all members of the opposition will have to, per force, choose alternative routes to be able to put their points of view across. If it doesn't happen tomorrow, then surely Mr. Gandhi will put all his points across to you and to the country through alternative means.
Can I ask you, therefore, in conclusion, because the president of the country, Pranab Mukherjee, last week clearly appeared to hit out at the manner in which he said a few elements were disrupting Parliament, were not allowing debate to take place in Parliament. He was echoing virtually what the government was saying till last week. Now the fact is, if Rahul Gandhi has this information, he could have put it out before Parliament from the 16th of November at any stage. And to some extent, the president, in a sense, is ticking you off. He's ticking off the opposition because he believes that the opposition, in some senses, was not interested in a serious debate on demonetization.
I don't think it's fair of you to misconstrue the president's aspirations, his sense of responsibility. I think the president was, in fact, indicting the government, because it is the government's job to make sure that the Parliament runs. What else would you require from an opposition than a full climb down from our stand, which is what we have been doing successively. And even after that, if the government is not willing to have a debate and 200 members of Parliament stand up in Parliament, make a ruckus, disrupt the House, which we have never seen happen before, Treasury benches getting up and adjourning the House and violating the Speaker's own rule. The Speaker has always admonished the opposition for showing posters. Today you had members of the Treasury bench and the government standing up and showing posters.
Because they would like to expose,
the kind
they
of
claim they want to expose corruption of the
government
Congress.
Has put
the government says they have evidence of corruption of the Congress that they want to put before. A sting done by India Today, AgustaWestland, they want to raise issues.
Rajdeep, please enlighten me. You know and I know that I spoke on the AgustaWestland issue for 45 minutes during the debate in Parliament. I made sure that I put all the facts of the case before the House, and the government had no response to any one of the assertions that I had made on that floor of the House. You can replay that tape, which you have in your records. Please tell me what is new in the AgustaWestland case, which is why they disrupted Parliament over the last 1 week. What is new? Please point out that fact and I will answer you.
So
what fact is new in the AgustaWestland case that the government and the Treasury benches disrupted Parliament for the last 1 week? I want an answer to that. If you can't answer that for me, I want an answer from the government.
The government says that the evidence that was provided in the India...
And as far as the point that you have made
they have looked at the India Today story and said that the government and that the opposition must answer questions.
Yes. Please remember this.
Yes.
That action should be... Please, as far as the point that you have made with regard to the tapes that you have got of leaders talking about corruption, action must be initiated against them. But please don't bathe the government and the BJP in milk. When their leaders have been caught with money in their hands, in 2,000 rupee brand new notes, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs in brand new notes, with what face are they raising that issue? You can claim that leaders of other political parties have mentioned that they could facilitate transactions. And I am not standing up for any of those people. Action should be taken against them. But with what face are the BJP members raising this issue when their members have been caught red-handed with cash in their hand?
Let me leave it there, Jyotiraditya Scindia. It appears clearly that this has been one of the most bitter Parliament sessions that one has ever seen.
It appears that you have accepted my statements, and I thank you very much for that.
I have not accepted any statement. I have given you the chance to. I have listened to you, something that unfortunately doesn't happen in Parliament. You speak in TV studios. In Parliament, you all don't listen to each other. I'm told you're going to meet the President tomorrow. We will leave it at that, Jyotiraditya Scindia. You've given the opposition perspective. Thanks very much. I want to take it from there. You've heard what Jyotiraditya Scindia has said, but I want you, the viewers today, to look at these visuals. And these are the visuals that I want to show you. Today, it was MPs in the treasury benches in the government who are disrupting the House in the Rajya Sabha. Take a look at the screen at the moment, and this at a time when Mr. Arun Jaitley and Venkaiah Naidu, senior leaders, are sitting in the front row quietly. There were the MPs putting up the expose of India Today on AgustaWestland and disrupting Parliament in the process. Instead of the two sides agreeing to a deal, for 2 weeks we saw the opposition doing the disruption. Today it was the government. And guess what? The Rajya Sabha got adjourned at 12:30 in just 30 seconds. This is what happened. The moment they got the Rajya Sabha started, there was shouting on both sides, and the Rajya Sabha was adjourned in just 30 seconds. This is the so-called House of Elders was adjourned in just 30 seconds. Yeah, we're waiting. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. House is adjourned in 30 seconds, almost as fast as Usain Bolt does his 200 meters. Okay, I want to now raise questions with some special guests I have. 5 big questions. Who is to blame for this Parliament shutdown? Is it true, as Jyotiraditya Scindia claims, that the government is running away from debate? Or is it the opposition which is creating trouble? Who will be held accountable for the loss of taxpayer money? Is it time to reform Parliament to end disruptions? And should the Speaker of the Lok Sabha in particular be playing a more proactive role in restoring order? Should the Speaker be playing a more proactive role in restoring order? Let me take that to my guest, Sambit Patra, National Spokesperson, BJP. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary is Member of Parliament of the Congress. TSR Subramaniam, former Cabinet Secretary with me. PDT Acharya, former Secretary General of the Lok Sabha. But I want to come to you, Sambit Patra, today, because those pictures that I have just shown, yes, till today you could claim that the opposition was disrupting Parliament in the first few weeks of Parliament. But today your party was not allowing the Rajya Sabha or the Lok Sabha to function. And your leader of the House, Mr. Arun Jaitley, and Venkaiah Naidu, former Parliamentary Affairs Minister, were just sitting instead of intervening. What am I to understand then? Is Jyotiraditya Scindia right when he says the government is running away from debate?
Rajdeep, just allow me some uninterrupted time and I'll decipher the whole story in front of you. Because thankfully I was listening to your interview with Mr. Scindia, and I would say that Mr. Scindia, in a way, has given out the answer as to who disrupted the Parliament. He has deciphered the whole story. Specifically, Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia said, word to word, I quote him, he said that we moved from Rule 56 to 184, from censor to voting in this whole process, because we wanted to know where everyone stands on the issue, and in this process we lost 10 days. Exactly, this is what he said. So 10 to 15 days were lost by the opposition just because the opposition wanted to know who stands where. Did they not know where they stand? The opposition was saying that they were all united on this issue and they were against the government. So they wanted to discover who stands where. So the most puerile reason as to why 15 days of functioning should have been lost in Parliament because the opposition did not know who stands where is something which is a giveaway. Secondly, as to what happened in the Parliament today, the accusation that the treasury benches did not allow the Parliament to function. Look, two things. The issue of demonetization was clouded by the rhetorics of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. He had moved from the earthquake to the balloon. So naturally, when a very important real fact, leaving aside the rhetorics of Mr. Rahul Gandhi, when the real fact was put up by one of the newspapers, leading newspapers of the country, that is Mail Today, with a letter to the effect by Christian Michel, the most important middleman in AgustaWestland case, mentioning that one important political family in this country has received 15 to 16 million euros as bribe in the AgustaWestland case, don't you think this is an important issue which should be raised on the floor?
It was raised and debated in April. I hope you are aware, Sambit Patra. The exact letter, the entire issue was also debated in April. Let me be very clear, Mr. Patra. I should sometimes inform you. Do not misinform the audience. Same debate. I cover Parliament on a daily basis. The same Augusta debate on the same letter was also raised in the month of April. Let me make it very clear to you. So it was, it obviously was.
Then just a second.
You did not answer my central question.
10 seconds.
You have every right to raise the issue again.
10 seconds.
Sir, you have every right to raise the issue again in the light of the fresh evidence that has been provided by India today. My question to you is, why did the debate was to be on demonetization? The Prime Minister said, I will sit for 3 days. There is a whip issued. I want the debate to take place. Why did the Prime Minister not facilitate the debate? Why did Arun Jaitley not facilitate the debate? Do you want the country to hear the debate or not?
I'll answer this question with an amendment to your statement that I am misleading the people by saying that this is a new development. That's the letter of Christian Michel.
I am saying that the debate has taken place earlier. I am saying the debate on Christian Michel has also taken place in April, May.
I have heard you. You use the exact word that I have misled the viewers by saying that this is new. Please amend the statement of the Today Network and the India Today group when it says that this is a breaking news.
It is.
That it is for the first time
we have provided new facts.
Indian television. How is it breaking news if this has already happened in the past?
No, we have provided new facts, Mr. Patra.
And this letter
we
is
have provided new facts. Does that mean that had to overtake the demonetization debate? Is that what you are saying?
Now you have come. Now you are in the right track.
Are you saying that Treasury benches have the right to enter the well of the House?
Facts are presented.
Treasury benches have never entered the well of the House in parliamentary history. Are you aware of that?
So you can ask this. Now, this is the right question. But when you say that we are misleading our viewers by saying that this is nothing new, you are wrong. Because India Today said that
I said debate.
Breaking news.
I said the debate. That there is, I said that this
you
debate
said
has
I was
taken
misleading
place
the viewers. There was nothing new. It has already been debated. Nothing new was added.
Anyway, it's not me versus you. Mr. Patra, it's not we versus you.
Exactly.
I said the debate has taken place earlier.
And that's why I come to the crux of the topic, leaving aside that is done topic and coming to the core question. See, I told you the rhetorics of Mr. Rahul Gandhi versus an important issue, that is AgustaWestland case. I agreed to the fact that there was a debate about AgustaWestland in the yesterdays and the yester months. But the most important issue is, in this ongoing subject, certain additives have been made. Yes. And the addition was SP Tyagi's arrest and his finger pointing towards the former PMO office. Naturally, these are issues of importance since corruption is also
So the opposition can walk into the well of the House? So the government can go into the well of the House?
Not at all. It was just a demand. So do you mean to say that for all these 16 days, we were the ones who were not allowing the debate to happen? Sir. When Mr. Jyotiraditya Sindhe, just in front of you, in your interview prior to this, he agreed to the fact for the 10 to 15 days, they did not allow the debate to happen only because of the fact that they wanted to know who stood where. That was the reason as to why they thought that the government should fall and Mr. Rahul Gandhi should become the Prime Minister of the country without going into the electioneering system. Okay. That is the reason as to why for all these days they did not allow the parliament to function.
Okay, you made your point. I've got two wise people who have seen parliament over the years. Mr. P.D. Acharya has been Secretary General of the Lok Sabha and Mr. T.S.R. Subramaniam, former Cabinet Secretary. You've heard both sides. Now I want you to respond. Has the time come, my larger question, that this is now never going to end? Taxpayers' money is being wasted session after session. Has the time come to amend, reform Parliament, sir?
I think that's the first good question. I noted the 5 questions that you had raised as the only question.
Yes.
Now, these 5 questions you have raised, we have heard for the last 10 years, 15 years, every session. No answers have been forthcoming. No answers will be forthcoming. Give me just 2 minutes. I don't need more than half a minute. Maybe 1 minute to explain what I'm going to say. We have 3 pillars in our constitution. There are so many other things, of course. The 3 main pillars: the Parliament, the judiciary and the executive now. Executive and judiciary, well or ill, they have played a role. Now you may have an opinion about ranging from 1 to 10, any number. Now, objectively, what has been the contribution of the parliament to the nation's governance in the last 50 years? What is the added value of the parliament to the country? I mean, I am not trying to demean the parliament. There are 550 members are doing it. I don't need to do it. I don't need to do it. But the question is, I see 4 major roles for parliament. One, confidence on the government periodically. Second is pass laws periodically. Third, answer public questions, clear air on all major issues. Fourth, debate. Now on questions, 50 years we have not had a single answer credible from the parliament. On debate, you do much better debate here. I bet that 100 crore people I have switched off. Most people don't know this Lok Sabha TV, Raj Sabha TV exist. This is the reality of India. We don't care. Do you think anything new is going to come out from that house? Questions and debate, nothing now. Now, you talked of 9 crores, 8 crores, 20 crores. In a sense, it is a very small amount in a highly corrupt country. But look at it like this, that if the parliament meets 3 days a year, passes out of confidence or ask the government to step down, passes or rejects the laws, which one they want. Do you think, I think we need reform. We just cannot continue like this.
I'll come to the reform in a moment. I want to come to you in a moment, sir. Just a minute. Let's talk about reform. Right? It is very clear, Mr. Acharya, as this session has shown, that the government and the opposition, they will carry on this blame game. For the first 3 weeks, 2 weeks at least, it was clear it was the opposition that was leading the disruption, insisting upon a debate with voting. In the last week, there has been one reason after the other that the government has been using to disrupt parliament. My point is, has the time come then to change the way parliament functions? That you cannot allow, if a member continuously disrupts parliament, throw him out. Throw him out, have the marshals, remove them. Is it possible or not to change the way parliament functions? If the British parliament can function, why can the Indian parliament not function?
Without loss of one day.
Sir, Mr. Acharya.
Actually, the basic question is whether parliament should run with a certain degree of sanity.
Yes.
Now, this is a question before the nation.
Yes.
But this question needs to be answered by all the political parties which have representation in parliament. After all, it is the political parties which decide about whether the parliament should be disrupted or not. When I was Secretary General, certain leaders of political parties used to come to the Speaker and say in the morning before the House begins, "Sir, we would not allow the House to function today for some reason." Now, even a 5-member party would come to the well of the House, members of the party come to the well of the House and used to disrupt the proceedings. Now, what I would say is that unless there is some agreement between the ruling party and the opposition on running the House, you cannot have a smooth functioning of parliament. Today, what we see is 2 warring groups are just slugging it out on the floor of the House.
What's the solution? I'm
just giving that solution. I'm just giving that solution. See, certain initiatives will have to be taken by, I would say, the Prime Minister and the senior members of the ruling party, and also the senior members of the opposition. In fact, I don't think that it is a problem which cannot be resolved at all. After all, parliaments used to function.
Sir, in the golden jubilee of parliament, if you remember, there was a rule that question hour will not be disrupted. In the 60 years of parliament, there was a rule that question hour will not be disrupted, and yet it happens. It's right. Yes, the senior leaders of the ruling party and the opposition should come together, but they are not. The fact is that Rahul Gandhi makes allegations of corruption against the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister encourages possibly his backbencher MPs to now target the Congress party. And we've had no debate on the biggest financial issue this country has faced, certainly since liberalization.
No, but
for 25 years, 25 years after liberalization, you have demonetization, entire session without debate, no GST passed. What am I to understand? Let's come to the reform.
Yeah.
Mr. Subramania, what is the reform? What is being suggested by Mr. Achari? The two sides have to come.
I'm extremely clear, something far-fetched.
Yes.
Apparently or seemingly, look at the way go to every state.
Yes.
It is the presidential form which is there. It is the chief minister's office with a small number of officials who are controlling it now. By and large, government of India in the last few years also has been largely controlled the same way, either from within the house or from outside. I think we see the fundamental flaw is there is no distinction between our executive and our parliament. The majority party becomes so there's no separation of powers in a sense between the parliament itself is completely. So the answer is we need to have a new parliament with new powers. Let's
be specific. What is the power? What are the powers?
Separate them. Separate like you're doing in so many other countries. Parliament will have a certain rule to say yes or no. It is the executive to take decisions yes or no. It is happening extremely well, and in reality, that is exactly what is happening in the country today. So allow the parliament to don't allow the same system that every matter is being only on voting, etc., etc.
Sir, I am asking you all are not, I am sorry, sir, with due apologies.
Yes.
All these have been raised in the past. I want to know, Mr. Achari, is it at the end of the day the fact that you're going to have to just change the way parliament functions? Maybe even, as some are saying, the Rajya Sabha's entire functioning will have to change. Is the Rajya Sabha playing any useful role? This is the upper house. Abandon it if it doesn't play this kind of role.
No, but I don't subscribe to that view. I would say that only yesterday or day before yesterday, there was a unanimity in the Rajya Sabha about passing that disabilities bill.
After 4 weeks.
No, that's what I'm saying.
4 weeks.
What does it show? That if there is a consensus among the parties,
yes,
then the House will run smoothly. Otherwise, no. So that is the position. There has to be a consensus built by among these various parties, and they have to agree on this, that the House should run. In fact, in the midst of acrimony, there used to be some kind of a dialogue between the ruling party and the opposition earlier. And the House has used
So you're saying there needs to be a dialogue?
Yes, there has to be.
Sambit Patra is a critical question. Since this parliament has started in the last 5 weeks, if the government was serious on GST, the Prime Minister could have held a dialogue with between Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi or whoever from the opposition, or Arun Jaitley should have had a dialogue with Anand Sharma. No dialogue takes place. What is going on? Why can there be no dialogue? There is a breakdown. The system has broken down. Let's start accepting that, Sambit Patra. What stops the Prime Minister from having a dialogue from calling Rahul Gandhi for tea and trying to settle this?
Number one, you are right when you said that a dialogue should take place between the treasury benches, that is the government and the opposition. And that is the reason as to why, for the first time probably I saw that in this session, winter session, though the treasury benches called for an all-party meet. Remember, there was a call, there was an invitation sent out of informal invitation, a telephone call by Mr. Raj Nath to all the opposition parties to come and meet so that we can, in fact, come to a consensus. But the opposition parties did not want to meet. They denied that. They said, no, just a phone call would not do. There should have been written letter. We had done our bit. They refused to do their bit. So it's quite clear that the intention of the opposition party was quite one which is suspect, I would say.
What stopped the Prime Minister from picking up the phone and talking to the opposition? GST is again the most important tax legislation. It's going to get deferred. Demonetization is the Prime Minister's biggest step.
Rajdeep,
does he not believe that there should be a dialogue? Is he doing, sir, let me ask you directly, is Narendra Modi doing in Parliament what he did with the Gujarat Assembly? In the Gujarat Assembly, he used to shut down the assembly when the opposition MLAs would question him. Are you aware of that? Does he want that to happen with Parliament? Is there a breakdown of dialogue?
Rajdeep, if the people of Gujarat or if people of India would have been aware of what you are saying in the wrong way, then people of India would not have loved Mr. Modi in the way. Mr. Modi does not shut down, he opens the door, and that's the reason as to why they love him. Secondly, Mr. Rajdeep, you saying that why Mr. Raj Nath or Mr. Jaitley should call the opposition leaders? It is only the Prime Minister who should call them for tea. This is not the way. This is not a dictatorial country that only one person means government. It is a collective government, and naturally when the Finance Minister or when the Home Minister calls the leaders of opposition, that is how the government functions. We had called them for a cup of tea. Leave aside a cup of tea, we had called them for lunch. We wanted all the opposition parties to meet, and we wanted to resolve this problem, but the opposition parties declined on record. That was a breaking news that day, that the opposition parties do not wish to meet the government.
Okay.
So just to say that the Prime Minister has to pick up, just a second, just to say that the Prime Minister has to pick up the phone every time, and then he has to call the Janpat and say, Priyanka ji, Sonia ji, Rahul ji, please come for tea, is like begging in front of a singular family in this country.
Okay.
This country does not mean one family. This country means a democratic setup, and in democratic setup, any minister can call the opposition.
Okay,
And anyone from opposition, just not
Chaudhary
Rahul
of the
Gandhi
Congress,
for tea.
quickly respond. What is Sambit Patra is saying? Tali do haath se bachti hai. The Congress cannot have everything their way. Tali do haath se bachti hai. Why should the Prime Minister pick up the phone if Rahul Gandhi outside in a press conference is going to accuse him of personal corruption? Why should he pick up the phone and even speak to Rahul then?
See, we have never insisted, Narendra Modi ji, that Narendra Modi ji should receive the phone of Rahul Gandhi ji. See, Rajdeep ji, you are a well-experienced journalist who are very much acquainted with the norms and procedure of the parliament. This is the transaction of business in parliament is incumbent upon the ruling party, and running the house is also an art and artifice.
Okay, let me ask that. No, 1 minute. Mr. Adil Ranjan Chaudhary, I am running out of time. I want to get a final word from my experts. We can go on saying Congress will say it's the government's responsibility, government will say opposition is disrupting. I'm going to ask both of you wise men 30 seconds each. If there was one radical proposal to ensure that my money as a taxpayer is not being wasted on parliament, give me a radical proposal, 30 seconds.
I don't think we can now count anymore. Given ground conditions in India, a cup of tea or invitation for dinner or telephone consultation to change. I think band-aid solutions are not possible. The system is, the problem is systemic, and I think fundamental changes are required.
Give me one fundamental change.
We need a presidential form.
You need a presidential form.
We need a restructured parliament with new powers. 70 years we had an old British method.
Yes.
Time now to review it and to Indianize it and have a new parliament and a new executive and a new judiciary. All three need repair.
Interesting point that you are making there. You are saying presidential form. Someone else on Twitter has told me, let us divide parliament into 4 parts. First 5 days of the session should be only for bills and question hours. After that, raise other issues of urgent importance. But the first 5 days, finish off. The first 5 days of this parliament should have been GST, income tax amendments, finish off the bills. Do you agree with that?
No,
create a new system of working in parliament.
No, of course, people are free to give such suggestions. But the point is that the existing system, if it is strengthened, if it is adhered to, I think there won't be much of a problem. But only thing is that people have to agree to run the system. Otherwise, it will not run. They will slug it out on the floor of the house, and house will not run. That is the thing. So they have to strengthen the existing system. There is no need for any radical departure from the existing system.
Sir, I'm sorry. The only reason I'm calling for radical solutions is when a system completely starts
70 years has failed.
It has failed.
70 years.
Whether the presidential system is the option is a huge question mark, or whether it simply needs stronger functioning of parliament, whether parliamentarians realize their responsibility to the citizens of this country. We want a debate on demonetization. The opposition should debate it, the government should debate it, and it should be in the healthy spirit of bipartisanship. Is that possible in this country? One more day to go to the winter session of parliament. Let's see if tomorrow is any different. I rather doubted.